Jesus in the East? The Hidden Life, Reincarnation, and the Da Vinci Code. Have you ever wondered if there's more to history than what we're told? In 2006, Oscar-winning actor Tom Hanks starred in the Da Vinci Code, a film that sparked a global frenzy. The audience were fascinated. Controversy erupted, and it skyrocketed to become the second highest-grossing film worldwide that year. But what was so explosive about this movie? Let's take a closer look. At the heart of the Da Vinci Code is a bold, fictional idea that Mary Magdalene, one of Jesus's most devoted followers, was actually his wife, and that they had children together. This plot twist was the hot topic of debate. The church called it blasphemy. They urged people to boycott the movie. But many ordinary viewers responded, "Why so serious? The movie even says it's fictional." Some people made comparisons. Didn't the Buddha have a wife and child before becoming enlightened? Jesus's mother, Mary, and foster father Joseph later had more sons and daughters, yet Mary is still called the Virgin. And when Jesus began preaching, he was already 30. According to Jewish customs of that time, wouldn't he have been expected to marry? The missing years of Jesus. Here's where things get even more mysterious. The Bible gives little to no detail about Jesus's life between the ages of 12 and 30. Except for one story, when 12-year-old Jesus debates with elders in the temple. His life during those years is a complete blank, both in scripture and history. And so, those lost years have become fertile ground for storytellers, thinkers, and even mystics. Edgar Cayce's reading of Jesus's life. Let's meet one of those mystics, Edgar Cayce, known as the Sleeping Prophet of America. According to Cayce, Jesus began a journey of learning and self-discovery at the age of 13. He traveled to India, Persia, Syria, and Egypt. In India, Jesus studied under teachers named Kahanji and Arcahia, learning how to purify his mind and body. In Persia, under a master named Junar, he learned the union of spiritual and physical power. When his foster father Joseph died, Jesus briefly returned home. But soon, he traveled to Egypt, living in the city of Heliopolis, home to the second largest temple of the sun. There, he trained as a priest. His cousin, John the Baptist, studied at the same time, though they weren't in the same class. Before completing his training, Jesus faced a final test inside the Great Pyramid. Cayce claimed the pyramid wasn't just a tomb, it was a sacred space where the soul transcended the material world. Inside, it was an empty stone sarcophagus, symbolizing that death is not the end. During the test, Jesus lay inside the sarcophagus and faced intense visions, temptations of greed, fear, lust. Only those with a pure and focused mind could pass. If someone failed, their body would die, and their soul would be trapped in a cycle of reincarnation. Jesus passed. Cayce said that in that moment, Jesus foresaw his own crucifixion, death, and resurrection. And that's why, when the day of his death came, he smiled. He had already faced death and overcome fear. These stories, Cayce said, were once recorded in the Great Library of Alexandria, until it was destroyed in the 2nd century AD. That might explain why these accounts vanished from history. Did Jesus visit India? Interestingly, in the 20th century, a manuscript was discovered in a monastery beneath the Himalayas. It spoke of a man named Isa, who studied Buddhist teachings in India. Many believe this was Jesus under another name. Though the church has never officially recognized this story, in India and the East, it's widely accepted. Cayce also said Jesus didn't learn much from the Greeks or Romans. Instead, his spiritual teachings were rooted in Eastern wisdom, particularly the ideas of karma and reincarnation. But today, these ideas are absent from most forms of Christianity. Did Jesus speak of reincarnation? We'll come back to that. Mary Magdalene. A mysterious past. Now let's talk about Mary Magdalene. Cayce said she had several past lives. In her earliest, she was a princess in Atlantis, using magnetic energy to drive out evil spirits and heal others. But her pride grew. she refused to listen to others. In her next life in Egypt, she was a temple musician, using higher energies to help humanity. But again, she became mistrustful and stubborn. Then came her life as Mary Magdalene. Cayce described her as extremely beautiful, with reddish hair and blue eyes, of Greek and Jewish descent. He even claimed that Leonardo da Vinci's famous painting captured her likeness. When Cayce made this statement in the 1930s, the painting was privately owned and unseen by the public. People doubted him, until 2005, when the artwork was finally revealed, and it matched Cayce's description. Cayce also confirmed what the Church has long said. Mary Magdalene was once a socialite, living in Rome's high society. Her life was full of indulgence and recklessness, not quite the noble figure portrayed in the film. But after Jesus healed her, driving out the 7 demons of greed, hate, lust, and more, she became his most devoted follower. When Jesus was crucified, the other disciples fled. Mary stayed. She even helped bury his body. And she was the first to witness his resurrection. So was she Jesus's family? Some think so. But when someone asked Cayce if she was Jesus's lover, he answered clearly, no. Interestingly, in this life, that same soul worked with Cayce and showed healing talents again. Through Cayce's readings, she realized her stubbornness and distrust were flaws carried over from past lives, and she made efforts to change. That, Cayce said, was the true purpose of his readings: to help people understand their illness or pain, and heal from the root. A circle of souls reunited. Cayce was amazed to discover that many people who came to him had shared past lives. Several had lived during Jesus' time. For example, 2 of the 3 wise men who visited Jesus at birth had been reborn in Cayce's time. One as a science magazine editor, another as an accounting teacher. Andrew, one of Jesus' 12 apostles, was now a leader in spiritual research, traveling the U.S. giving talks in the 1950s to 70s. Another apostle, Cleopas, had been reborn as a 15-year-old, unsure of which college to attend. And what about Jesus himself? Did he reincarnate? Cayce said yes. In a 1932 reading, he claimed that Jesus attended the 1919 Geneva Peace Conference that led to the formation of the League of Nations, the predecessor of the United Nations. In another reading, Cayce said that Jesus' first incarnation was in Atlantis, under the name Emilius. The lost teaching of reincarnation? Let's return to reincarnation, a belief missing from modern Christianity. One of the most influential early Christian thinkers, Origen, lived in the 2nd and 3rd centuries. He believed that souls lived multiple lives, learning lessons and evolving. This was widely accepted at the time. But in the 6th century, Emperor Justinian I declared this teaching heresy. He even imprisoned Pope Vigilius, who supported Origen. Justinian feared that belief in reincarnation would weaken the idea of Christ's salvation. So the doctrine was removed and scriptures were edited. Over time, people forgot. Until the 1940s, when the Dead Sea Scrolls and the Nag Hammadi texts were discovered. These ancient writings revealed that early Christians did talk about reincarnation. One passage from the secret book of John has Jesus telling his disciple, "You are truly blessed, because you understand. The soul must follow another soul that holds the divine spark. Only then can it be saved and never again enter another body." Judaism, on the other hand, preserved the idea of reincarnation more openly. In the Jewish mystical text Zohar, it says, "All souls must reincarnate." But people do not understand this divine law. They don't know they are judged before birth and after death. They don't realize how many lives they've lived, or will live. In the 16th century, Rabbi Isaac Luria, a leading figure in Jewish mysticism, taught reincarnation extensively. His followers compiled his teachings into a book called The Gate of Reincarnations. According to Luria, souls exist before the body. If a soul makes mistakes, it must reincarnate to correct them. God gives everyone 3 chances. If the soul corrects itself, it's free from the cycle. If not, it might lose the chance to be human again. And some souls are born not for their own lessons, but to help others. So, was the Da Vinci Code just a story? Yes. But it opened the door to deeper questions. Could Jesus have been married? Did he study in the East? Is reincarnation a forgotten part of Christian tradition? Maybe we'll never have all the answers. But by exploring these mysteries, we might come closer to understanding not just Jesus' story, but our own.
Subscribe and hit the notification bell so you don't miss what's coming next. Share it, because some stories are meant to be discovered together. And stay curious. I'll see you in the next chapter.